Hello everyone and welcome to the Distinct Mastering YouTube channel. My name is Freddie. Today we're going to be talking about how your key detection software could actually be fooling you and lying to you. The advance of key detection software made it easy for DJs and producers to mix harmonically when playing tracks live, but the key detection softwares are not all as good as everyone thinks. So in this video, we're going to explore a situation that a client of mine just recently had, and I thought I'd make a video to talk about it because I've experienced this with a few clients and helped them fix it. I'm also going to be offering a new service because it seems to keep coming up, so more details in the video to follow. Before we get into the video, I want to briefly chat about my new release available on NOS Recordings. This one is actually a free download. It's Lavelle, Dupree, and my alias Freshcobar. It's a flip on the House of Pain jump around, so make sure to check the link down below and grab a copy of that for free. It's currently on the top 100 Hyped It Tech House charts, but obviously this video will be coming out in a few weeks, so I don't know where it will be then. So real quick, I'm just gonna get into a quick little backstory to give you guys a little example of what's going on. Over the years, some of my friends have sent me some tracks for mastering, and occasionally I'll catch a note or a word or a phrase that's out of key. And what I then notify some of my friends and clients about the issue, and then I end up walking them through the process to help them fix it. It's been as simple as an example, hey, that one word is out of key right there at this timestamp. You need to pitch that up or down one semitone. Or as complex as this whole 8-bar phrase is completely out of key. Well, this week, a friend sent me a track, and I'm not going to get into the specifics, but this is his session that I have here with me. And not all of the plugins load, but that's okay because we're going to be talking about music theory today. So here is his Ableton session. Now, I have a duplicated bass track with this white pattern here, which we're going to modify. And I have 2 duplicated vocals, which I helped him with. The first thing that I caught was one word was out of key, which I then told him to slice these out and pitch them down. And that worked perfect. Then I ended up catching another section, which we just worked out today, and I helped him revise some of the bass notes to follow this passage. So briefly, before we get into how to fix this stuff, let's talk about how this happens, why this happens, and why your key analysis software or websites could be fooling you. Okay, so if you're using Mixed in Key, Rekordbox, Serato, even sites like TuneBat or Keyfinder, any of the key analysis software that's out there on the market, even things like Beatport, they're not always correct. Here's a chart that's showing you how accurate some of these things are. And as you can see, Mixed in Key is there at the top. Some of the ones like Serato are down in the 60%, Mixed in Keys around 75, 76%. So let's talk about why sometimes these things can be wrong. First of all, some of these softwares can only analyze minor and major scales. There's lots of different scales out there that producers are using. Sometimes I'll use Phrygian, which is very common in tech house. There's also a song I recently did that was in G minor pentatonic. So there's lots of different scales, including Lydian, Dorian, the list goes on. And if these softwares can't tell you what the key actually is, then it's giving you a false representation. Things like Splice too are often wrong. I've gotten some samples from Splice that don't line up with what it says. Why does this happen? Some common reasons why key detection goes wrong include the song has a key change in the middle of the song. So it may be, say in this case, the song was in A minor, but the song he took the vocal from also has a small key change in this breakdown section. And that changes how he needs to play his bass line in that section. Another issue with this specific remix, on the one word that I pointed out earlier, there was a borrowing from another scale. So yes, sometimes a lead singer or a guitar player playing a part might borrow one note from another scale before resolving back to the main note. And this is getting a little deep into music theory. I know I might have lost some of you, but the best thing you can do is try to use your ears and practice and study music theory. Maybe play an instrument. I play piano, so it does help me out. Another reason that this could be happening is there's just ambiguous tonality. You know, sometimes a song might bounce from one key to another, or there are some songs out there that just don't resonate with any one key. And it'll be very hard for producers if they're relying on key detection software that's giving you a false statement to figure this out. Another thing that could possibly throw these off is a melodic line and a vocal line could be doing 2 different things. Therefore, it might think that it's in another key. Or lastly, if the bass line is doing something totally different, which can define the key of the song since it's the lowest note and potentially the root note, that can also alter the perception of the key analysis software. So how do you do this the right way? You got to use your ears. If your ears aren't skilled enough, I suggest you take some ear training courses. music theory courses, maybe pick up an instrument. Like I said, I play piano, so that truly helps me. And these are the types of things that beginners miss. Another thing that you can do is you can play along with the melodic line. So if the vocal's out of key, you can play a piano to it or play a sound to it to try to follow it and figure it out. Even just drawing it into a MIDI editor can help you. I recently did a video where I talk about a lot of the tools that I like to use to educate myself over the years. I suggest you go and check that out. I'll leave you a link down below. I talk about a music theory tool called Tone Gym. I do a thing called Sound Gym. And a lot of this stuff can really help you too. So before we get into how to fix this stuff and how to show you the examples of what was wrong with this, I just want to give you some tips before sending any files to mastering engineers like myself. Possibly send over a version just for us to check out before bouncing all the stems. I'm in his Ableton session, but for the mastering, he sends me stems and I do stem mastering for him. That could save everyone a lot of time and a lot of back and forth. The second thing, I'm considering offering this as a consultation service. I've been getting asked a lot to offer, say, 15 or 30-minute or even 1-hour consultation calls to help people with their sessions. So if that is something that interests you guys, please drop me a comment down below and I'll get that going. And lastly, when you are trying to listen for this stuff, you just really have to pay close attention. If you hear something that sounds off, it probably is. You got to go with your feeling, go with your gut. Usually when I point these things out, I'm not going to mention any names, but they don't catch them until I point them out to them. And then it becomes very apparent. So they haven't trained their ears enough to notice these things on their own yet. So the key word and the moral of the story is trust your ears, not just your tools. If any of you have common stories, I'd love to hear your stories down in the comments. So please drop them in. Now let's get into the session and talk about what went wrong here. Okay, sorry for the long-winded story and all the information, but it's all relevant to this topic. Okay, so I'm obviously missing a couple plugins here. If you didn't catch my Waves video on why I hate Waves plugins now, I suggest you check that out. It was a bit controversial and got a lot of views. Links to that are down below. I have Kickstart 2, and then there was one more plugin which I didn't need that I got rid of. But this isn't going to hinder us from talking about the theory aspect of what we're discussing. So I hope I don't get dinged for copyright here. I am going to play you a little bit of this because this is actually a remix of a popular track. And I'm just going to go back here. Do you hear anything wrong with that little passage right there? If not, then you might not have the skilled ears that you may think you do. This little passage is borrowing a note from another scale. So how did we fix this? Well, as you can see right here, I told him he needed to slice this up and pitch this down. And he could try up to, but this is what we ended up with. See how much better that sounds? Once again, I'm going to play you the original one. And play you the new one. So, according to my friend, everything he learned about the track was in A minor. Every site he looked at said A minor, but a lot of these sites and these key detection softwares, he used Serato sample as well to stem out the vocals. If you don't know how to do that, I have a video on that. I'll leave you a link to that down below. And unfortunately, this was borrowing a note from a different scale. It went to the B minor. Instead of the B, which is in the A minor scale. To give you an example of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load a quick piano. Just a quick little, just to use my MIDI controller right here. And here we're going to load a grand piano. So, as you can see, A. See the B minor? I know you can't see me playing this, but that's what she does. But this B flat is not in the A minor scale. She's borrowing that note, and she doesn't sing the B. So that is why that either you need to change the instrumentation to match that, or you need to change the vocal. Okay, the next section that I want to share and showcase is this bass line passage right here. I'm going to play a little bit before. So she's in A minor, but in this part, let's listen to this vocal by itself. That doesn't sound right to me. See the E? So he's got the scale of A minor on in the session, but in this passage, scale changes once again. So she's going, excuse me, I'm not a singer, but I wanna be with your baby. So to me, these three notes, which are actually in the A minor scale, but what's happening is you could go to the D. So it's still actually in the scale, but it just doesn't work with these notes that he's playing. In my opinion, and I didn't check the song personally, she goes down to E minor right there. And so the scale, in my opinion, changes. Now, I'm not the perfect music theory professional. I'm just good at hearing this stuff. So what I suggested that we do is we alter these bass notes to fit. So what I recommended, what we're going to do is we're going to unmute this bass line and we're going to change this. So I told him that I wanted to hear this first note in, if I recall, was E. So there we go. What I'm going to do is just bring all these up to E.
I wanna be with you. I wanna be with you, baby. I wanna be with you, baby.
So this part right here sounds funky.
I wanna be with you, baby.
So here we are in G, and then here we need to get down to F.
I wanna be with you, baby.
See, already that sounds so much better.
I wanna be.
And then what I told him to do was, I think I told him to check out D. I liked the D.
I wanna be with you, baby. I'm gonna be by you.
And then bring these up.
I wanna be with you, baby. I'm gonna be by your side.
Okay, so then we're gonna go back.
I wanna be with you, baby. I'm gonna be by your side.
And then this turnaround here. So let's put everything on the same playing field right here. And then what I would do with these is drop back down to the D to resolve back down to this E. And I would probably just loop this section and you've got your new bass line just like that.
I wanna be with you, baby. I'm gonna be by your side.
Oh, no, we're not done. So this part right here is off. So let's go bring this down here.
I wanna be with you, baby. I'm gonna be by your side.
So this turnaround can be customized to the way you want.
I wanna be with
I like going
you,
down.
baby. I'm gonna be by your side.
You could maybe do something like this.
I wanna be with you, baby. I'm gonna be by your side.
Yeah, but I like it actually just going from the D back to the E. And, you know, there's not one right way or wrong way to do this. You got to do what you like and what fits the track. So I hope this kind of shows you that you need to pay attention for key changes in different passages or just tonal changes and make sure that your music, your instrumentation works. This is also a big problem if you're trying to use loops. If you're just using loops from Splice and stuff, you could run into problems like this. So be careful. Okay, so what does this mean? Always trust your ears, not just your tools. It's a very, very common issue that I'm finding with some of my clients' work. And this is not something that a mastering engineer needs to tell you about. If you are sending your tracks off for mastering, this is not a function of mastering. This is actually more of a consultation issue. And some of these guys are my friends and I want to help them out. And it does drag into music theory and talk about some things they may not be so versed in. So if you guys are interested in some consultations, once again, drop me some comments down below. If you found this video helpful, please consider following my channel. Hitting that like button and the bell notification will keep you up to date when I drop new videos. And don't forget, if you want that free download that's playing in the background, it's a new one of mine, is my alias Freshcobar alongside Lavelle Dupree. It's called Jump. Go get it. Thanks again for watching. My name is Freddie from Distinct Mastering, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.